woman, the horse doesn't feel very well. And he feels kind of awful and weak. And she said, he jumps like 5-foot fences. He's not weak. He looks beautiful. He's totally glossy. He prances around other than when he's in the ring, and we think he just doesn't want to do the job anymore. And I said, well, he's showing me a different picture of almost like the whole picture looked gray and gloomy. In other words, the life force wasn't really flowing through him. It was almost like he was a swamp. The life force is like a river, and he was a swamp. And he didn't feel like very strong. Now here I am telling her this, and he's performing at the highest level in the world, the Olympic level, and she's kind of rolling her eyes. So she's getting more and more angry with me because she said, he's got grooms, he's got the best of care. She was really proud of how well they took care of him, justifiably, because he did have the best of care. But it turns out that as I looked closer into his body, I saw that the muscle fibers in his body were separated strangely, and that they weren't repairing themselves. In other words, the muscles looked sort of like stringy, weak things instead of pumped up, strong bands that were able to pull his body and push. And I saw that he didn't have the nutritional things he needed to actually grow proper muscle. And in this case, once I spent enough protein in his diet, could that be true? Well, she was getting madder and madder. First, she felt like I was being disrespectful of her program with this horse, and then she also felt that I was assuming that she was ignorant about what horses need. So her anger started to become kind of like the focus of the conversation. She was just getting madder. And whenever you find yourself doing that, it's often because your ego is starting to get a little bent out of shape. And it wants to be right. It wants to be in control. And anger is sort of the symptom, if you will, of your resistance to just taking in information and flowing with it, or taking in an idea and going with it. Whenever we feel anger at another person, at ourselves, at an animal, often it's because we're in resistance to the very life force. Our ego kind of was ruling the day, and it wants to be right. Our ego wants to be correct. It needs to feel that it's right so that we feel in control, because it's not much fun to feel out of control. But it can lead us astray to where the control becomes more important almost than that we don't see all the facts. We start to see with sort of a weird tunnel vision where she had dotted all of the I's and crossed all the T's on the horse's care. But as it turns out, when they gave this horse a lot of protein when he was younger, it made him too rambunctious. So they had gradually begun to reduce the amount of protein, and they were actually feeding him a feed that's designed for elderly horses. So it turns out that his protein was seriously low, and he really actually did need more to be a top contender athlete. And the more we unraveled that together, and she got out of anger and started to realize that she was being angry with somebody that was really just trying to help her and help the horse, we saw that actually the horse's muscles may be suffering from something that might not even be diagnosable, because it's hard to see if they don't quite have enough protein when you do blood work. So that's why all the diagnostics hadn't shown that. And that he wasn't recovering easily from work, and that work had started to be unfun because protein, fuels the machine, fuels the muscles, gets everything working. So in this case, she was sort of, her anger and her need to feel like she knew what she was doing was disrupting a very obvious fact that she had ignored. And it's easy to miss something. It's super easy to do that. And so, when I brought it all up to her, she realized that her anger at me wasn't really all that well founded. And she wasn't sure if I was right or not, but she had to at least let go of the anger, get back in the flow, and say, okay, since I want to have fun, I want this horse to be happy, I'm going to have to maybe stop being mad at you and listen. And so I think that's a mechanism that we all need to think about all the time, myself included, that sometimes when we're feeling angry at someone else's direction or guidance to us, it's often because we're out of flow and that we are in resistance to how easy and fun life can be if we just let it be fun and easy instead of thinking we always have to be in control. So that's the difference between the ego and the higher self. The higher self always wants fun. The ego wants to be right. And when we start to worry too much about being right, we quickly fall out of flow. Animals are a really great way for us to see that. And so I want to thank you for listening. We're going to take a break. This is Laura Rowley.
What if your dog, cat, or horse could help you with your love life? What would they suggest? It's fun to think about and a wonderful way to conduct yourself. After all, animals know well how to love and invite us to love them unconditionally. That's a pretty great way to live life. Animals always communicate with our highest good as their central focus, even when sometimes we feel stymied or frustrated with their behavior. Visit LauraRowleyHealer.com to book a workshop or private long-distance phone reading. Laura's readings and workshops help you find the part of you that's able to tune in and connect to your amazing animals. Laura Rowley believes we can all understand by listening differently. Book a workshop or private long-distance phone reading now by going to LauraRowleyHealer.com. That's LauraRowley healer.com.
Are you searching for a way to help create global change? Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's vision is to have an eclectic group of radio hosts dedicated to educating, enlightening, and helping humankind with positive messages and tools that enhance lives using different modalities and programs. If you would like to join our team and help illuminate the universe, call Deborah at 508-226-1723 or Deborah at dreamvision7radio.com.
EDESIA is a U.S. nonprofit dedicated to the dream of ending childhood malnutrition for millions of children around the world. Through the manufacture of Plumpy Nut and other nutrient-rich peanut-based ready-to-use foods, EDESIA has already delivered life and hope to nearly 1 million children in over 26 developing countries. To find out how you can join EDESIA's dream of ending childhood malnutrition, please visit edesiaglobal.org.
Looking for a fun and relaxing getaway? Omega Rest and Rejuvenation Retreats are a great way to unwind and renew your spirit. Stroll through the garden, relax by the lake, or try a daily yoga or movement class. You can stretch your body, quiet your mind, and do as much or as little as you choose. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org.
Animal Connections with Laura Rowley is an intuitive show created for you to learn what it's like to talk to animals. Laura shares 20 years of experiences of being a pet psychic and healer every Friday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, media partner for the Omega Institute. Our beloved animals share our lives and have amazing insights into our well-being, providing us with opportunities for personal growth once we truly begin to listen. It's fun to use animal wisdom to enhance our emotional and spiritual world. Who better than our furry friends to teach us the wisdom born of unconditional love?
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back. I'm Laura Rowley, and you're listening to Animal Connections with Laura Rowley on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Every Friday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you can listen online or on your mobile devices. To learn more and for a full schedule, go to dreamvision7radio.com. Dream Vision 7 Radio Network is the media partner for Omega Institute. So we are having a discussion today and talking and telling some stories about fun and how animals can keep us in a state of bliss, connected to our higher selves, connected to the life force, connected to each other with graciousness if we decide to see it that way, or we can get judgy, get judgmental. When we do that, we often get, someone recently just used the word for me, and it's the perfect word, we can become harsh with each other. So in the case I was just talking about, the woman whose horse was no longer able to move forward when jumping wanted to get harsh with that horse and teach him, you have to do what we say you have to do. He was just trying to tell them, I no longer can do it. They, however, were saying, well, you must be able to do it. You just must not want to do it. It's just be messy. In other words, you're just being uncooperative. And I think we make that judgment a lot with each other. In other words, sometimes, I don't know, you go into a store, somebody's waiting on you, and maybe they have a terrible headache, and they're doing a terrible job of waiting on you, but maybe they just don't feel good. So instead of thinking, oh, you're just so unreasonable, why don't you do your job properly? Maybe you just need to cut them some slack and think, I bet you're not feeling super. In other words, be a little empathic, a little bit compassionate, and say, something must not be right with you. And that's why you're acting this way. And I'm going to cut you some slack and let you deal. Or maybe that person just is in the wrong job. And doesn't mean we have to be harsh with them. It could just be that maybe we can think to ourselves, well, this isn't even really about me. It's about them. They're struggling. I'll just do my best in this particular situation and get back out of it without becoming angry and without getting my ego all up in arms. Like, how dare you not wait on me well enough? Or how dare this horse not do his job properly? Or how dare my dog jump on the door, because he always jumps on the door when people are outside the door, and I hate it when he jumps on the door, and it makes me so mad when he jumps on the door. Well, he's trying to see what's on the other side of the door. He thinks if he jumps up, he'll be able to see it. And also, by barking, he'll be able to warn the thing on the other side of the door, which is his job, he feels. So meanwhile, you're getting angry, and how dare this dog do that? And the dog is just thinking, I'm doing a jamming job here. I'm protecting the door, and I'm also trying to see what's on the other side of it, and I'm really doing a good job being a dog. So you could just sort of let go of all the judgment, and because the judgment gets to be kind of like a dam, or it's like the flow of life. We're all kind of doing our own flow. We're all in the river of life, the web of life. We're all experiencing it in our own way with our own ideals and principles. And sometimes, of course, there's going to be conflicts between us. But if we can just sort of really try to get out of our own head and think it's not really about, like, for instance, it's not about my door and my paint job that the dog is scratching. It's about the dog's need to protect the, which he feels is the reason he's in my life, is to protect me. So he goes to the door, scratches up the woodwork, and barks when people come. Now, I could train him that I would prefer he not do that. And, training is, of course, education. but it's getting on the same page first and say, well, why is he doing that? He thinks he's protecting me. That horse, in this case, was trying to protect himself because his body couldn't do the work she had suggested it do. So it wasn't about her need to have that work done, and it wasn't about my need to not have my door scratched. It's where the animal is coming from. In this case, I do actually have a dog that jumps on the door, and we had to teach him to stop doing that. He was gouging up all the woodwork by just telling him that whatever was on the side of the door wasn't his business. It was my business. And thanks for letting me know, but meanwhile, can you stay on the ground and do that? So I worked with them. Actually, I had a trainer come over and help me work with them. I might understand animals, but sometimes it's hard to train them because you have to be firm and very clear, very concise, and very rewarding and appreciative when they get the right idea from you. So for me, it's just always easier. I have a couple of friends who are amazing dog trainers, so it's easier for me to have them come in and kind of work with me and the dog. Let them see what goes on so that we can all work together to come up with a solution. So in my work, by learning from so many different dog trainers how to do things, I can also convey things from a dog trainer's perspective to my clients to help them, in fact, solve some of the same problems that I have dealt with and continue to deal with all the animals that have passed through my life and lived with me. And so I can take advantage, in other words, of what the animal's teaching me about being in flow